My name is Krystal Hawley, and I've been going to First United Methodist for about a year now. We attended some churches in Denver. We didn't really feel like we could become part of the church. Congregations in Denver, it's a huge city, so congregations are thousands of people. It's very hard to make friends in the church if you don't already know somebody going in. And there's just always a lot of uncertainty and hard to feel like you're part of the community. In the first 3 days we moved to Madisonville, we had over 10 invitations to churches. Immediately we had community around us. Every neighbor came and introduced themselves. And in the first conversation, everyone would invite us to church with them. So that was a really welcome change. So we went down to the Methodist Church down the street for a couple of reasons. The minute we walked in, it just felt like home. People approached us right away. People wanted to get to know us. And probably the second week that we were there, a woman approached me after service and invited me to her house for a prayer group. So I started going to her house for prayer group every Thursday, and it's been a huge part of my life here. I'd say around the 1st of November, my mother called me at work and said she felt very dizzy, and I'm like, call 911, don't call me, call 911. So Mom, the ambulance got there, and I worked a couple of blocks away from her, so I went over right away, and they took her to the ER and they didn't let her out for the week. She ended up getting a pacemaker, and I don't think at first we knew how close we were to losing her. It took them about 3 days to stabilize her enough to get a pacemaker put in. And the ministers came every day. Someone came, one of the pastors came and prayed with us. And that meant so much to my mother and to me, that someone would come and spend that time and pray over her health and for her doctors. Shortly after my mother had her pacemaker, I was closing the store and I passed out at work. And I've never had anything like that happen before. And when I came to, I was kind of panicked because I'd never had anything like that happen. And so I went to urgent care, but they couldn't put their finger on anything, and they thought my potassium was low, so they put me on potassium. But I just didn't really feel right, so they started running tests, and when I saw the nurse practitioner, she kind of was like, well, we don't really see anything, we can't really put our finger on anything, but let's just take a chest x-ray just in case. And when they did the chest x-ray, they saw a mass in my lung. So immediately they were like, it's cancer. You know? At first, I really didn't know what to do with that. I really didn't know what to do with it. And so I prayed a lot, because whether it was cancer or not, I felt like God was going to help me through it. And I never lost hope in that or faith in that. It really wasn't hope, it was certainty. I felt like God had me in the palm of his hand, and we were going to get through this, and God was going to make sure that I got through it however God saw fit, but it was going to be okay. And then after about a month's worth of testing, they came back and they said that they were wrong. And the doctor she'd never been more pleased to be wrong. And it came back as a very unusual autoimmune disease that's an inflammatory disease that can be controlled very easily, actually, with steroids. So it doesn't usually stick around more than a few years. I mean, it really couldn't be any better scenario of things that could be wrong. What I would tell anyone who was even thinking about God or thinking about going to church is to make the step in the door. There are all kinds of challenges that we all face every day in our lives. And no matter what it is, it's not too great to bring before God. And there's a community that will pray for you, pray with you, and support you in the church.